Well, greetings, hello, and welcome. I'm ImperialJedi, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 favorite mods with a little bit of follow-up on how I use them in my day-to-day city building. So I'll just kind of list them in my order of importance, and then you can just check the links if you want in the description. Feel free to, stop there. And if you want to just kind of see how they all tie together and how I use them, just feel free to stick around. I'd encourage you to, though. It's kind of a fun video. So in order of importance, number one on my list, my Desert Island mod. If I can only bring one with me, Move It mod. Probably the best mod out there. Easily brings the highest quality of life improvements to the game as well. Not too demanding on the system. I will definitely show you a small snippet of what it can do. I could probably spend an hour maybe making a video about just the Move It mod itself. There's just so much, and I'm still discovering new things too, so I don't even know it all. Number two, the Traffic Manager Present Edition. That one is so fantastic. The magic roundabout in front of us, only really possible because of the Traffic President. You can adjust things like on-street parking, speed limits, vehicle restrictions, yield signs. You can even go as far as telling cars how to interact when they get to lanes, like what lane can they go into, when can you lane change even. Fantastic mod. If I could bring two with me to the Desert Island, that would be the number two. But I think Move It mod is slightly ahead of it. All right, number three, Fine Road Tool, and number four, Fine Road Anarchy. They're kind of hand in hand. You need one to run the other, and they work just beautifully well together. Fine Road Tool, Fine Road Anarchy basically lets you just lay roads over top of each other. You can instantly adjust a road. So you can make it suspension bridge, make it ground level. You'll see all that pretty soon, but it's a really handy one. Just way more controls over how you place roads down. And then Move It mod allows you to manipulate them, and then Traffic President allows you to kind of, finishing touches on it. All right, next one on our list, number five, the Find It mod. Very, very handy, especially if you start using some custom assets or if you're using just a whole bunch of stuff and you want to just get it quickly. The Find It mod, basically an in-game search feature, and it ties in really well with a few other mods if you wanted to maybe switch over from zoning to plopping. I'll go over that too, don't worry. Number six on my list, the Prop Line tool, which is also fantastic, works really well with the Find It mod. We'll see how that works later. But yeah, Prop Line tool lets you put down fences, trees, assets. There's some anarchy built in with it. You can use that. Number seven, 81 tiles, which basically opens up the entire playable surface of the game here. So instead of the 9 tiles you get with vanilla, you can go all 81, which is pretty nuts. But yeah, if your computer can handle it, go for it. Number 8, Prop and Tree Anarchy, which ties actually pretty nicely into Prop Line tool. There is a little bit of an anarchy built in with that, but just having the Prop and Tree Anarchy means you can put trees wherever you want in pre-existing buildings. Jazz up someone's front yard, that kind of stuff with some flowers. All right, number 9 on my list, extra landscaping tools. That one's a great one. Go as far as, just your regular landscaping, but if you want, add some water sources, add or remove, I was gonna say industries, but no, some of the resources for your custom industrial zones, like the ore, the oil, create farming zones. Pretty handy one too. And yeah, creating water sources. So if you want to make mini waterfalls and rivers and stuff, really, really handy to have that. And I think wrapping up my top 10 list today will be Improve Public Transit 2, which is a pretty handy one if you're a public transit junkie. So if you want custom buses, custom trains, those custom vehicles, you want a truly uniform vehicle fleet color, that's the mod for you. You can even tinker around with the prices on the tickets, try to make some money off it. All right, well, that's my top 10 list. Check the description for the links below, and I'll just spend the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes kind of casually going over how I use those within the city itself. So this, like I was saying before, is pretty much done. Move It mod, Traffic President. Can't see how it works here. So the Traffic President mod allows you to do lane selections. We can put in some yield signs. We can turn off the on-street parking. And I have just, right now, the despawning disabled. So all vehicles must find a parking spot, which is pretty crazy. But here, let's go over some cool stuff the Move It mod can do. So this city here is just kind of a test. I know it's not overly functional. I'm not the best at designing British infrastructure, so I've been trying this out over on Twitch with some live support from people that actually live in the country. But I'm supposed to be doing kind of a British themed fishing city that grew up, that's got some outskirts and whatnot. But yeah, let's look at some cool stuff the Move It mod can do. But just pay no mind to the fact that the city is a hot mess. So the Move It mod basically allows you to manipulate, adjust, copy, paste, anything you want that's already been placed on the map. So for example, I can just grab that house set, I can move it further away from the road. If I can make a mistake, there's an undo feature, Control Z. You can grab and manipulate nodes. I do kind of recommend pausing the game because you're going to have a lot of just recalculations and frame rate drop when this happens. You know, if you don't like the angle of a particular road, say you want to do two at once. Like, it really is like, if you can think about it, you can do it with a movement mod. There's raising and lowering of terrain. You can have terrain match different heights. You can adjust the slopes. I mean, it's pretty wild what you can do here. Main things I use it for, though, is like I'll plop and like play stuff with confidence now because I know that I can adjust it with a movement mod. And just to show off some of the most crazy features, like this stuff is just bonkers, right? Let's say, for example, right, like we were having a slope that's on top of the hill, and then this is the bottom of the hill. And we wanted these nodes here in between to look nice and even Steven. So let's grab these three. We've got the more options popped out, and it's just holding shift just to grab more nodes than what you want, right? Or if you want, you can do marquee selection, double click on any of these to highlight the one you want. So that's nodes right there. And we can just do a marquee. Nope, don't want that one. Anyway, so I've got these three selected. We've got our more options popped out. And what I want to do is just slope in between. And so when I click on that, it's going to ask me for a top and bottom. Boom. Isn't that handy? And let's say, for example, you know, we don't want that slope. We're done. We want this to match the same height from before. Boom, no problem. All right, so that's some really cool stuff you can do. I mean, this is just scratching the surface too. One of the neatest things you can do with this, Cuboid, the maker of the mod, was showing me this. So Cuboid is love, that's why I named it that. This is how I started a previous city. And we were just kind of casually talking, like, what if you like your start and you want to switch maps? Well, just save it. Save it and import it. Which is kind of witchcraft when you think about it, right? All right, well, let's, we don't really need this here. So we'll want buildings, props, and I think trees. That should be good. Yep. And then we can just delete that if we want to. Pretty handy. So importing, exporting, copy, pasting. Copy paste feature looks really awesome too, right? Let's get something. So let's do a few buildings here, right? Let's say, for example, you loved the way this like row housing turned out and you want to just put that somewhere else, but not necessarily have to plop them down individually again. Boom. Do I need to rotate? I don't think I actually need to rotate that. I don't think these are going to stay here, but, you know, hypothetically, right? Right, pretty handy. Pretty handy feature. And what's cool is these will completely function as a house. And I'm doing a special kind of fun way of not plopping, or not zoning, sorry, to get these things down. And that's kind of like using the Find It mod. So I'm going to try and talk about all the mods. They're going to be all over the place here. I've been struggling, like I said, with like how to actually do this part of the video, because there's so many that just like crossover. But the Find It mod allows you to search by growable. If you download growable buildings, you can plop them. And if you run, I think it's no abandonment, and then I think it's called Plop the Growables. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the name, but you're basically going to be searching for stuff that you've downloaded. And instead of having it like zone in, you just plop it down. And then when the mod's functioning properly, this won't disappear. So it's pretty handy, and you can kind of see here, the only zoning I've done was just a little bit of a test, just downtown. And then again, this is just kind of like a test city, so I know it's not really functional. We're slowly getting there. Yeah, Find a mod. Literally anything you want, you can do by category, right? And then I was saying how this would tie in with, say, like the prop line tool. Let's say we wanted just like a row of Magnolia trees. Pretty random, but why the heck not, right? So there's our Magnolia tree. We just had to type in a few keywords, so we didn't have to type in the whole thing. And not that they're going to really stay here, but let's just say, for example, we wanted a row of Magnolia trees that were, say, like right along the tree line here. So that's us just doing a straight line of it. If I want, I can pop this out for some more options here with some anarchy. So we can go over top of stuff more comfortably, see that? And then here we can adjust the spacing. So if I wanted maybe a little bit of a tighter, a little bit closer, just plop those down. And then each one individually can now be adjusted with the movement mod. And I also have random tree rotation, which is what's making these guys do the dance and boogie. And if I wanted to say one more, we can just copy that right in. You know, adjust the spacing. You can see why I paused the game, all those little stutters. So you got to be kind of cautious. I'd say save option if you're going to be doing the modded side of life. You'll probably want at least 16 gigs of RAM, if not 32, for the more custom assets. Strangely enough, the game's not actually too video card heavy.
Hi, Hi, I'm Greg, owner and founder of Steel Frame.
Just so I'm not talking over these guys, let's just swap this up here. Yeah, kind of a fun feature, right? And then another cool aspect of the thing is you can put this inside the roundabouts. So circular. Anyway, that's fantastic. Fine road tool. Let's go over that a little bit here. So fine road tool, in combination with some of the anarchy mods, is probably one of the greatest things. So this is it right here. We're popping that little window out. If we want, one of the coolest things is change this. So now when you press page up and page down, we're going 1 meter increments. So a lot more fine-tune. I'd still kind of keep it 3, to be honest. I find that having to like jam this 100 times. I'll definitely turn it down to 1, but I think I usually stay on 3. Anyway, one of the coolest features though is you can turn off the snapping, right? You can have your anarchy on and off too. And then you can also force it to be either tunnel, ground level, suspension bridge if it permits. And what that basically means is if I want, sorry, lose my poor voice here. We can have this ground level suspension bridge, ground level no bridge, or no suspension, sorry. Ground level tunnel, which will look really weird. And then if you want to, you can switch after. So you know how sometimes when you're doing little bits of road zoning or road plopping and one little section's a bridge? Well, no problem, just switch it over. Brings the train up with it too, which is pretty cool. And then hypothetically, if this is a movement mod right here, right? If we're up in the air like that, and I switch this over, the terrain comes with it, which is pretty cool. So when you're doing your over ramps, you know, on-off ramps, that kind of stuff for the highways, pretty handy. And then of course the anarchy just allows you to go over top of everything, right? And then when you turn off the snapping, this is pretty wonderful right here. See that? In combination with the anarchy. We can probably do this a lot more convincingly with a skinny road. And then we'll use movement mod here. Pull that over. So the intersection is a little bit warped, but better. If I hold left alt, movement mod's gonna do its best. It's gonna try and adjust the slope to kind of fit what looks like the angle I'm going for. That's the true angle when we started. And we're trying to just adjust it so it kind of looks sort of nice. That's not too bad. Not too bad. That's how you do these really tight intersections and turns. Patience and mods. All right, so what else can I talk about here? Prop and tree anarchy. That's a really cool one too. So, you know, just if we have a nice tree or something like that from the workshop, any kind of tree, vanilla tree even, and let's say we wanted that over top of a pre-existing building, just go over to our single selector. And yeah, even, you know, someone's backyard, right? Right over top. You know, someone's front yard, so they'd have a tree over here, right? Would they? Maybe not, but you never know. If I turn off the anarchy, you can see how we can't do this anymore. You gotta find those itty-bitty spaces in between the buildings. Anarchy on, no problem. Pretty handy. All right, now one of the beautiful big ones here, improve public transit too. This one is an absolute gem of a mod here. Let's go in and let's look first person on how we can adjust some of our vehicles here. So I'm going for like British trains, right? So you can see there's one style over here. I don't want those like orange vanilla trains, you know what I mean? And the only way to get those really in properly is, yeah, improve public transit too. Here's another style, right? Pretty neat. So the way it works is it just looks like your regular transportation tab with a few extra windows. And then you click on your lines. Oops, sorry, my poor game here. And then, let me just move this over here. You can see we've got the types. That's the one I'm using right now, but if we wanted to maybe add a different one, right? So this is the old 4-car. Maybe we can add a couple 2-cars, right? So, bada bing, bada boom. Oh, you know what? It's still selecting... Oh gosh, what have I done here? Oh, no, you know, I'm just silly. Never mind. I'm just silly. Yeah, it starts with the... I thought it was grabbing the other ones, but never mind. Anyway, we can see the vehicle spacing here. I was saying before, it's a truly uniform vehicle fleet, because if you want, change it to anything, you know, any color your heart desires, and then you can copy-paste your hexadecimal color coding system. And then, again, just the spacing on its own. If you want, you can do some budget control. You can adjust the tickets. I'm not really looking to make money off these, per se. But if you want to, you can basically take that option. And my custom vehicle liveries don't normally need to be repainted, so coloring the line really does nothing, but we might see one of the new vehicles now. No, that's the 2 car. Oh, sorry, that's the 4 car. There should be a 2 car floating around now. Yeah, here it comes. So that's the one we just added, and it's going to be in combination with the 4 car. Now it can seem like, you know, for rush hour, we've got a few extra vehicles, bringing the extra people along. Pretty neat. And then, oh, of course, there's a fire. There are fire watch people. And then this allows you to do your custom, you know, buses, pretty much everything. It's a different approach for your boats and for your planes. This is more so just for like your city transit, but still super handy. So same kind of application for the buses, right? We've made these red. We just choose the double decker here, but if we want, we can have like mixed fleets. All your custom vehicles from the workshop, you download them here, enable them in your content manager, and they pop up, you know. And then I think the last one we need to talk about still is the extra landscaping tools, which is it's pretty much a doozy. It's a lot of fun, but oh my goodness. Number one advice is definitely save before, right? Some of the more simple functions that it brings is you can put in, if you want, just some ground-based resources. You do also have more brush options, which is pretty handy. And this is transferable between, say, like, you know, trees and soil and that kind of stuff, so pretty darn neat. Yeah, if you want to, just grab some, like, ore, you know, make an ore zone. Can't see it too well because of the map theme I'm using, but it's there. If we switch over to this view, you can see it. You know, make some farming for your outskirts, right? You know, I'm trying to be doing, like, English countryside here, so we need a lot of farming zone. You know, sometimes you terraform the map, and, you know, you maybe put one of your farming zones underwater, so you got to replace it. It's just pretty handy. So this is definitely one of the greatest parts about it. Just having, like, more tools in general for landscaping also is very, very handy. Don't know why I'm worrying so much about that. But yeah, let's do a little bit of landscaping here. Not that I'm the best at that, but just gives you more options. You can now add and remove sand as well. So beaches are a lot easier to do now. Let's just swap that one more time. Okay. So what can we do for landscaping? Some really quick things is we can adjust the terrain height, we can adjust the brush size to larger than we wanted to. Remember how vanilla is like 1, 2, 3 in intensity? We can do like massive modifications, right? Nothing, actually this is kind of built into the game, but this is a fun little shout, right? Not a lot of people know this. If you want to make like a fun plateau area with a nice big old ramp or something like that, this is crazy, right? This is built into the base game. So let's, what am I doing here? I'm right-clicking here, and I'm going to left-click and draw down. That's right. Smooth ramping. Not necessarily a feature built into the extra landscaping tools, actually built into the base game. Landscaping tools just gives you bigger brushes, right? There's an undo feature, which is extraordinarily handy. So think of it as like faster landscaping if you kind of know what you're doing already. Easier chance to make more mistakes if you don't, though. But just simple landscaping. I mean, you can turn down the intensity of the brush. You can make your brush kind of different sizes, right? Different strengths. You know, so if you don't want like as dramatic of a hill, you know. So I encourage you to play around with this. Like I said, I'm not the best at it. I still have a lot of fun using it, but oh my goodness, I wish I was a bit better. One of the great features, though, is you can, if you want, add some water features. So this also is like, just save the game ahead of time. But if you're looking for like a hilltop river, a little waterfall, you know, make yourself a little water spawn, right? Plop that in, and then you can adjust the height by raising and lowering it, and you can see where that water will end up, right? But it's very easy to flood your city. Right-click to get rid of it. I would definitely recommend looking up videos for this. You can also adjust the overall sea level height. This kind of stuff, it's so dangerous. You know, you can flood your whole city, ruin everything. So just be very, very, very cautious. Again, save ahead of time. Oh my goodness gracious me. But yeah, some of the stuff you can do. And you can see how they all kind of like relate into each other. All right, I think I want to just wrap things up by showing you a little bit more again from the movement mod and the traffic president. And it's going to seem a little bit crazy, but my best idea and example for that is I initially used the wrong type of roads for this roundabout here. So I'm going to switch this over, and I'm going to redo some of the traffic lines and that kind of stuff. So it should hopefully make a little bit of sense. You can see how both Move It mod and Traffic President play into each other. I might not be doing that much with Move It mod, realistically, just because we've already got a lot of the spacing correct. But we'll see how this unfolds. So I'm forcing this to ground with fine road tools. Just upgrading here. Downside, though, is when you do upgrade, you lose these things. See how they're starting to go away now? So you have to go through and redo all your lane arrows again. But if you want to stick it out, it's kind of cool to watch, see how it all works. And if you're kind of curious how the magic roundabout works too, you can kind of get a little bit of a feel for that. I'm going to pause though, you can see my game stuttering a little bit. And this road texture pack is the one that's made by McWelshman. It's the UK road project. It's amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Give it a try. And I'm actually going to switch this over.
Lock eyes with the lemur. Shake hand.
And then I've had so many people comment that there's a way to turn off the commercials. I'm positive that's just for console, but if someone knows how, please tell me. I love the commercials, but I just hate yelling over them when we do our little videos, right? Yeah, so I love using these roads because it's got the props and everything kind of like built into them. Yeah, move it, mod. Let's just gently move that over. What I'm trying to do is just get rid of that weird indent in the road. Yeah, on both sides, hopefully. That's not too bad. Pull that more to the center. And then I've been using Surface Painter as a way to fill this in. On average, I usually run like, I want to say about 30 to 50 mods, hit or miss. A lot of them are for visual stuff, and this for little silly things like this, you know? But the 10 I listed, just like, great start, you know? But if you're kind of curious as to like what's doing what, I'll do my best to answer some other random questions in the comments here. All right, so our roads looking pretty good. Spacing and stuff-wise, pretty good. So let's just jump in here. I'm going to go a little bit fast, but I'm basically going to be telling the incoming traffic that you have to already make up your mind with the lanes. And I always make my outside lane an exit lane. And the inside lane, when we have a little exit like this, oh gosh, is going to be outside lane exiting, inside lane going to the next set of inside and outside lanes. So that's my general approach. And then of course this one leaving can get to 2 lanes, right? But that is the general approach. If you want to, you can also use this for some vehicle restrictions. So if you want a particular set of roads to like not have, say, trucks, you need them for commercial delivery, right? But that's another really cool feature. I probably won't use that in here, but I don't want to like blow over that too quickly. Another wonderful feature is when you're doing junctions that are very, very close to each other like this, you can tell cars to proceed through them even if it's already blocked. So that helps speed up traffic tremendously when you're doing these kind of areas, in combination especially with the yield signs here. Yield signs luckily stayed, which is nice, but let's get back to this. Sorry to be all over the place here. And so yeah, outside lane is the exit lane, inside lane goes to the next inside and outside. And sorry, that was my Discord there. I thought I had muted that ahead of time. So you have to ahead of time already have your lane decided. So anyone taking the inside lane is probably going to switch over going into this. So that's one way to kind of guarantee multi-lane usage out of the roundabout. And as long as your connecting arms have the ability to go in and out, right? So we're going inside and outside lane. That's what I mean by that. And then here, you're going into all 3 and exiting if you need to. That one to the next 2. And then you just become an exit. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Probably had a whole bunch of you there. Just tab out and check your Discord. 99% of the time, I remember to mute that. And I guess you can see I'm not that popular. I only had 1 ping so far, so. But who knows? That could be the floodgate starting, right? Anyway, if you have the patience to do this kind of stuff, it's highly, highly worth it. Like, I don't know, I think over time my love for this game is kind of shifted in like a fun new way. Now I see this more like art and everything. It's like art and function. I don't know. I'm just like pleasantly surprised at how beautifully well this game is aged. In fact, we're able to do this kind of stuff. I've always wanted to do this. You know, and I'm now going to be trying to attempt like a copycat of a real city too. I live in Toronto, and I'm going to try to do like a Toronto project. There's a lot of assets these days on the workshop. All right, well guys, I think we're going to wrap this up. I could probably do this for the next like 20 minutes and still not be finished, you know. But hopefully this helped a lot. You know, in terms of like mods, thought process, you know, what else is out there, what mods are even like, what do they do for the game? Hopefully you guys have a bit of a better understanding now. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Let me zoom back out so we can see the city in its whole here. Sorry for not finishing this, a little bit anticlimactic, but that's kind of the idea. But this will probably take a few more minutes, you know. All right, guys, well, thanks for hanging out. Again, just drop any questions you want about mods. It doesn't have to be about the 10 I listed. Check the description for them, though, if you want to try them out for yourself. But all of this was basically made with mods. So vanilla base game, it's fantastic. Play it until you're comfortable with the traffic and understanding the mechanics. And I don't know, some days you just might feel like your game needs something else. It's missing something, right? So when that happens, consider some mods, get some DLCs, right? Ask some questions, and then trial and error. It's one of the funnest processes, I think, too. Anyway, guys, you're wonderful. Thank you very much for your comments. I'll see you guys again, and hopefully this helps somebody out there. Adios. Happy building. We'll see you again.